So there's big concerns in America about jobs, mainly because there are no jobs. I think everyone can kind of see that. It's apparent in the news, in most major media, and I think a lot of people are really concerned about, how to restore these jobs. But, how are these jobs even being lost in the first place? And I think that's a really good question that we should delve into. I think it's a little bit more important. So let's look at it. There's a little echo going on. Okay. So there's
an important point.
Yeah. Let's look at it.
Has to be repeated.
Yes, exactly. So there's a book mainly depicting a really highly industrialized civilization, really similar to the one we live in, but mind you, this book was written in the 1950s. So it's detailing a civilization much like ours, very advanced technology, and mainly this person is trying to elucidate how machines are more and more taking over jobs. And this book is called Player Piano. Not sure if anyone's heard of it, or does anyone know what a player piano is?
Player piano.
Yes. Do you know what it is?
That plays itself?
Exactly. So there's this little scroll, and it has perforated paper, and you put it in the piano, and it gives the illusion that there's someone playing. Like you see the keys go down in harmony, and it gives the illusion like a ghost almost is playing it. And this author uses this example of the player piano to depict, again, how more and more people are becoming obsolete and machines are becoming more and more in power as far as, they're taking over jobs, basically. So in one instance in this book, the protagonist named Paul, he is matched up against this newly developed machine created by these engineers, and the machine's name is Checker Charlie. So needless to say, by the name, he's a machine that is like an undefeated checker player. So Paul is actually a really intelligent, one of the most intelligent IQ-wise person in this city called Ilium in this book. And so the engineers of this Checker Charlie, they felt that Paul was the perfect person to kind of show their prowess, these engineers, the prowess of, the ability to create such advanced technology. And so in the beginning, Paul, he was playing against Checker Charlie, of course, and in the beginning, it seemed like he was going to win. Paul was going to win. He was making all these moves, but he kind of had some doubts that, this Checker Charlie is so advanced. He probably has a much more far-reaching plan that I can discern. So, he was very kind of in distress about losing this game. And eventually, more and more you go into the game. I don't want to go into details, but then someone comes running in and he's like, fire, fire, and then all of a sudden you see billowing out of Checker Charlie is all this smoke. You see all the lights on the body just kind of flickering on and off, and finally you hear this large hum, this large drone, and it gets louder and louder, and finally just like lights go off and he's kaput, finished. So Paul's friend makes a nice little statement that I like to read. Says, if Checker Charlie was out to make chumps out of men, he could well fix his own connections. Paul looks after his own circuits. Let Charlie do the same. Those who live by electronics die by electronics. So I think this really symbolizes a technological backlash. And I think today we can kind of see, we're kind of feeling a similar heat of this backlash from technology. And I think most people think around the world, the more technology that you have, the more advanced that you are. But actually what I'd like to propose is, what this machine culture really means is more unemployment. And I think a majority of the people can't, even make their own they can't meet their own needs, their own necessities of life, and they're struggling. People are struggling to put food on the table. People are fearing for their jobs, and you kind of see similar instances. I see, talking to people on a daily basis. So what are we to do? We're enmeshed in this highly industrialized society, this highly technologically advanced culture, and it seems like it's really hard to give this kind of lifestyle up. We're almost addicted to these artificial standards of living, and I think that's the problem. When you live beyond your own needs, of course there's going to be imbalances. Of course there's going to be loss of jobs, wouldn't you say? So I think in order to kind of counteract these imbalances, one has to strive to find happiness within. One has to try to live with the bare necessities, living with only that which they actually need, living with just the bare necessities of life. And there's a concept advocated by the Vedic culture of simple living and high thinking. So basically what this does, this allows one the freedom to cultivate that which is most important, cultivate, inner fulfillment, trying to cultivate, a standard of living that's based on, a spiritual consciousness. And so finding happiness within instead of trying to find pleasure through externals, I think will save a lot of people a lot of suffering, that we find from technologically advanced civilizations.